This is a photo booth photo, and then these are Polaroid photos that I took on a camera. Pieces that I can experiment with. I'm gonna get to explaining what I'm gonna make today. So I have this pinboard here that's been sitting on my wall forever. It has all these pins because I used to use this as a jewelry display, but I just don't like it anymore. I don't really think it looks that good. So I want to redo it into something that's more decorative, but I also want to be able to use it. I've already made this like felt name flag, which I definitely want to put on it somewhere. I also have so much fabric that my mom picked up from me the other day from Spotlight. I've been trying to get into more sewing, so she picked up a bunch of like, I guess smaller like fabric pieces that I can experiment with. So I definitely want to use one of these fabrics to cover the pinboard. Another thing I was thinking of doing is to have some sort of calendar that sits on this pinboard, and you know, maybe I'll pop some photos and ephemera on here. We'll just see what I do with it, but that's the plan right now. I picked out a template on Canva, which was this one, White Simple Minimalist Monthly Calendar 2023, and I just kind of edited the colors and picked a different font. So I think this is the calendar that I'm going to be using to put on my pinboard. I'm going to change this actually because right now we're in October, we're going into November. So I'm going to write November there. Okay, so I just printed out these for November and December. I'll print out the other months when it comes to it. I just want to cut off the border, so I have a little, I think it's called a guillotine, if I'm not mistaken, like a mini guillotine. So there's one more craft that I want to do, which is like a little sign that has a quote that's written from beads. I'm going to use fabric just because I have some scrap fabric and some scrap lace here that I would really like to use. I have a little piece of card here, which I actually got from inside these fabric. So I'll just wrap the scrap fabric around it, and then I'll use this lace somehow, I have to figure it out, as a border, and I'll use a glue gun to stick it on. And then I have a bunch of beads here. I've got to think of the quote first because I want to make sure that I have, you know, the right letters and stuff, and I don't want the beads to all look too cramped onto the board. So the quote that I'm going to make is, "I'm so full of love." I just found it on Pinterest, to be honest. Just the right amount of words, but not too many. Okay, to be honest, I'm not sure if it's gonna work. I always like work out my crafts on the fly, but I think I'm gonna cut this lace in half and then fold it up like this, put it around the edge, and then I will put the fabric or glue the fabric on top of that. That's the plan. Hopefully it'll work. Okay, so this is the goal. I'm going to place all the beads where I want them to go. Okay, so this is approximately what I want it to look like. I'll try line up the letters better, but I think that this looks good. It is definitely off center. It kind of trails off that way, but it's okay. I'm going to add some embellishments on. Like I have these little daisies. I think I'll put one here. I also have some buttons. I have this one and this one. So that's the finished one. I'm full of love. Okay, I've moved to the floor just because there wasn't a lot of space on my desk, so this is just easier. But here we have the 3 crafts I've made. These are the 2 fabrics that I'm going to be using. I would just use one, but I realized that one isn't enough to cover the whole board, but that's okay. I'm going to use this pink one as like a strip at the bottom. I have these pegs that I want to use to pin photos up. I went through some of the photos that I have, and these are the ones I'm going to be using. This is a photo booth photo, and then these are Polaroid photos that I took on a camera. Okay, there we go. Now it's all empty. I just want to iron out these two fabrics to get rid of the lines. Okay, I can't lie, I really tried to iron it out perfectly, but the only iron I own is like a really tiny one. I'm going to use these pins to like pin the fabric down. Okay, so now that the fabric is on, I'm going to add everything else. So I'm just gonna place everything where I want it to go. Okay, this is the general setup of what I'm gonna do. I have like a bunch of pegs, so I want to glue one here. I really hate sticking pins through my Polaroids. I'd rather use like a little wooden peg. I have enough for all of them. For this, I think I'll pin it. So I'm gonna pin this one down first. So I'm gonna go away and just hot glue the pegs on, and then I'll come back.